Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I didn't do a proper voiceover for this video, so I'm gonna do one here, but I'm bringing you guys my 2021 bullet journal setup. I can't wait to start fresh in this new bullet journal, and I really like how the theme turned out. But yeah, anyways, I'll let you guys watch the rest of the video. Okay, so the notebook that I'm going to be using this year is the Shop Amanda Rachel Lee Camel Dotted Notebook. I really love this notebook. It is 160 GSM, I'm pretty sure, and I love the gold foiling and the color. But yeah, that is the bullet journal I'll be using this year. Anyways, so starting off with the spread, I decided to do kind of like a welcoming spread to the new year. So I wrote on the spread "Hello 2021" just as like a starter page to my bullet journal. So yeah, I thought it would be really nice, and I can't believe it's I'm setting up for 2021. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, anyway, so for the word 2021, I wrote it with the thinner tip of the thinner tip of a Tombow dual brush pen, and then I kind of made the lines a bit thicker to make the 2021 pop out. But yes, for this theme, I definitely did experiment with different things and stamps. I used a lot of stamps, but you'll see the kind of style. It's kind of like not too vintage, but more, you know, it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see. But yes, anyways, after I started tracing that out, I use these block stamps that I have, and I use the capital letters for this spread. I usually use the lowercase ones, but I wrote "Hello 2021," so I just wrote "Hello" with the block stamps. Yeah, I really like how these block stamps turned out. I love the way it looks with the bullet journal and the theme, so I thought this was a great match. And then here I'm also adding these butterfly stamps that I received from a friend, and I really love these stamps. I use them throughout the setup. So here I just used two different types, and then I topped the bullet journal off with some squiggles, like twinkles, little stars. And yeah, I really love how this beginner page turned out. And yes, I forgot that I did add some Shop Amanda Rachel Lee washi tape to go with the journal, and I incorporated the dark monochrome set throughout the setup. And yeah, and then I just added some stamps, and that was pretty much it for this spread. Okay, so now moving on to the next spread in my bullet journal, I decided to go for a grid spacing guide. I've done this one last year, and it's definitely been helpful. So I guess I can kind of explain how the page works. So basically, you split the page horizontally and vertically in the middle with a pen or a pencil, whatever you like to use. And then you also write the numbers 1 through 5 on each side. You'll see how it turns out. But basically what I did once I've done that is I add these little indents with a certain amount of blocks or squares. Sorry, I spaced out. Square spaces. So for example, maybe you want to split one page into 4, and by using like 8 square spaces with one space in between. So like when you're trying to set up something and you're like, oh, I want to set up like a horizontal weekly spread, but I don't know how many square spaces to do. This is basically what the spread is for. So you can also I also did vertical and horizontal, similar to the setup that I did last for my last bullet journal that I did for this half of the year. So yeah, and basically you just label them after that with I just labeled them with a black dot to know like how many spaces there are. But yeah, as you can see, you can see what I was talking about like labeling it 1 through, I'm pretty sure 26 and 1 through 38, just to know like how many spaces in you need to start. And it's really helpful when setting up spreads, especially for me, weekly spreads, because I like experimenting with different spreads. So yeah. and I just, the white marker wasn't showing up here at the moment. Anyways, so I just labeled it with grid, and I wrote grid spacing guide. Grid, I just did this, this monoline calligraphy, and then spacing, I wrote it over this black marker, and then guide, I wrote with the uppercase stamps that I use throughout the setup. And obviously you cannot forget, I just added the butterfly stamps that I use in the beginning of the page, some washi tapes, some little stars and lines to just top off the spread and make it look pretty. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this spread. Okay, so moving on to the next spread, I decided to go for something, a quote, and the quote that I wrote was a fresh, I think it was journal. A fresh journal marks a fresh start. And for me, I love starting a new journal because I think it just signifies like a fresh start, and it just, I love like I don't know, when I start a new journal, it's just like a new opportunity to show my creativity and experiment and set goals for myself. So that's why I really want to put this quote in a bullet journal, because I don't know, I just really like starting a new journal and having that fresh start. So yeah, I just wrote that with the fonts that I did throughout the theme. I added this butterfly stamps, some more stamps, washi tapes, those little squiggly lines and stars, and then that pretty much concludes this whole spread for this page. Okay, so now moving on to like the main setup of this whole preparation setup for 2021 is the future log. So for my future log, I use this, like, it's similar to Copic markers, I'm pretty sure. It's from this brand of store. I'm not sure if it's a local thing in my city, but it was pretty pigmented, so it did ghost and bleed a little bit through the pages, but honestly I didn't really mind because these pages are like really thick. They're like 160 GSM, so basically barely any markers go through, and they did put a warning that these markers would go through, but like I can't complain because this like type of bullet journal has definitely been like the thickest amount of pages that I've like seen in a bullet journal, so I was expecting it to bleed through, but I didn't really mind since I knew that it didn't actually go through that much considering how pigmented it was, so I didn't really mind. But yes, anyway, so I decided to, for each month, to use my calendar stamps because I'm going with like this whole stamp theme for the beginning setup of this month. So, and it saves me a lot of times writing out the numbers, so I just wrote future log with all the months, and I wrote future log with those stamps. I added some butterflies, those little squiggly lines, I'm pretty sure, some stars and twinkles, and obviously to top it up, some washi tape. But yes, and then for like to label each month, I use that marker, and then I use a white gel pen over top. Anyway, so for this spread, I did 2 different spreads for this whole page. One spread is my YouTube video ideas because I would definitely like to like have a place to keep track of them, and then when I like have no ideas, I can go back and look and I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember I had this video idea. I can do it. I can film it and edit it. So yeah, that was basically what this spread was for. So for the word YouTube, I wrote it with, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that marker. That marker that I used to write the calligraphy is the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen, which is also a new pen to my collection, and I did receive this as a gift from a friend, and I really love the marker. But yeah, so I use that for like the twinkles and the squiggly lines, and so I just kept with the same washi tape stamp theme for that spread, and as well as this spread, which is a monthly check-in. So basically each month I can just check in with myself, see how I'm doing, if there's anything interesting going on that month, how I was feeling that month. Basically just like a spread just to express my feelings for the month, and I can look back and see what cool, interesting things happened during that month. So yeah, I just wrote monthly check-in again with the stamps and the calligraphy with the gray pen, and then to label each month, I use that kind of like, I'm just gonna call it a coat. I I don't want to call it a Copic marker, but it's like this really pigmented black marker that I use. So yeah, and also perfect time to tell you guys, I will link all of the supplies I use in the description box down below. So yeah, I will definitely link that, because if you're ever interested in any of the supplies I use, yeah, they'll be linked. Usually my links are for Amazon unless it's like a specific brand and website that they're sold on. So I usually use a Canadian Amazon website, but if you live in another country, then you can probably translate the link to your country. Anyways, so this was the final setup and flip through for this for this new year. I really love how this turned out. I really like the vintagey kind of like modern mix together that I did for this spread, and I can't wait to start this new bullet journal.